Two of the president's top intelligence community picks faced some sharp questioning today.
Appearing before Senate committees on Capitol Hill, Kash Patel, President Trump's choice to lead the FBI, and Tulsi Gabbard, nominated for Director of National Intelligence. Nick Schifrin and Laura Barone-Lopez have been following today's confirmation hearings, and Nick begins our coverage with Tulsi Gabbard.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Today in the Senate Intelligence Committee, the name used more than any other was not the woman nominated to lead the intelligence community, but the man responsible for its largest breach. Edward Snowden was a National Security Agency contractor who leaked more than 1 million classified documents. In 2020, Tulsi Gabbard wanted him pardoned.
I've introduced legislation to stand up for and to protect brave whistleblowers.
Do you still think Edward Snowden is brave?
Today, Gabbard's past comments drew bipartisan concern, beginning with Vice Chairman, Virginia Democrat Mark Warner.
Edward Snowden broke the law. I do not agree with or support with all of the information and intelligence that he released, nor the way in which he did it.
Oklahoma Republican James Langford.
Was he a traitor at the time when he took America's secrets, released them in public, and then ran to China and became a Russian citizen?
Senator, I'm focused on the future and how we can prevent something like this from happening again.
Colorado Democrat Michael Bennet.
Is Edward Snowden a traitor to the United States of America? That is not a hard question to answer when the stakes are this high.
Senator, as someone who has
your
served
answer,
in
yes
uniform,
or no, is Edward Snowden a traitor to the United States of America?
as someone who has worn our uniform in combat, I understand how critical our national security is.
Apparently you don't.
This is about regime change in Russia.
Senators also questioned Gabbard's judgment on Russia and the war in Ukraine.
The United States and some of these European NATO countries are fueling this war,
which she's blamed in part on the U.S.
Who's responsible for the war in Ukraine?
Putin started the war in Ukraine.
That conversion doubted by Kansas Republican Jerry Moran.
I want to make certain that in no way does Russia get a pass in either your mind or your heart, or in any policy recommendation you would make or not make.
Senator, I'm offended by the question because my sole focus, commitment, and responsibility is about our own nation, our own security, and the interests of the American people.
Senators also expressed skepticism in her conversion to supporter of warrantless surveillance, which she used to oppose.
I don't find your change of heart credible.
And on Syria,
that the United States has been waging this war, this regime change war now.
Gabbard visited in 2017 and dismissed U.S. and UN conclusions that Assad launched a chemical weapons attack in April 2017.
And that evidence was never presented, and it's very clear now as time has gone on that there was a cover-up.
Today, for the first time, Gabbard said she pushed Assad on chemical weapons.
I asked him tough questions about his own regime's actions, the use of chemical weapons and the brutal tactics that were being used against his own people.
But Democrats fear Gabbard's prior positions could prevent allies from sharing intelligence.
I just don't believe on your judgment and credibility issues that this is the appropriate role that you should take going forward.
Gabbard was elected to Hawaii's legislature in 2002 at the age of 21 as a Democrat. She served in Congress for 8 years, deployed twice to the Middle East, and is a serving lieutenant colonel in the Army Reserve. But she became a Republican and endorsed Donald Trump over their shared questioning of the intelligence community.
The American people elected Donald Trump as their president not once but twice. And yet the FBI and intelligence agencies were politicized by his opponents to undermine his presidency and falsely portray him as a puppet of Putin.
With that charge, her supporters proudly call her unconventional, while to her critics, she's dangerous.